It is 10:51 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is the 8th day of December. Wow, cruising by fast. 2025. This is episode 1225 of Bitcoin, and it's going to be a short show today. And it's not just because I do have some stuff to do, but honestly, there's a couple of stories that are going on, but I just want to hit the meat and potatoes and not give you any fluff this morning here on the Bitcoin and podcast, where it's all the news you can use and more about Bitcoin and what's going on in the macro environment around the world. And today we're going to start in Texas because over the weekend, some news broke about a big old Texas billionaire, and now he's a Bitcoiner. Let's find out exactly what the hell this means. Small Texas lender Monet joining field of crypto-focused banks. This one's written by Jesse Hamilton, and it's for CoinDesk. Monet Bank, a small Texas community bank owned by a billionaire political supporter of President Donald Trump, has stepped into the field of crypto lenders, billing itself as an infrastructure bank, whatever the hell that means, with a focus on digital assets. Quote, Monet is focused on being the premier digital asset financial institution, providing innovative and forward-facing solutions for the digital economy. You better put a tie on that suit speak, according to its website anyway. Though, at less than $6 billion in assets and slightly more than $1 billion in capital, according to Texas state records, the institution would be considered a very small community bank. The Texas lender opened in 1988 as Beal Savings Bank, and earlier this year changed its name to XD Bank before changing again 2 months later to Monet. The state-chartered institution is regulated by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation and has 6 offices according to federal data. Now here's the owner, Andy Beal. He founded Beal Financial Corp and is known as a high-level poker player. Of course, let's bring in the degens, and a major 2016 backer of Trump's successful presidential campaign, having funded his own political action committee. The information first reported on Monet Bank's shift to focus on digital assets earlier Friday. It joins a slowly growing field of banks aiming to serve the crypto industry. In October, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, granted a conditional charter to Erebor Bank, which sounds something like it's out of a Tolkien novel or something, a new tech-focused firm backed by Founders Funds, Peter Thiel, who is also invested in CoinDesk, the parent Bullish. And earlier this week, former Signature Bank executives launched Next, which is spelled N3XT because, hey, we're all leet speaking over here now. A narrow bank chartered as a Wyoming special purpose depository institution that says it will settle payments instantaneously through a private blockchain. Nothing to fear here. The shift comes amid a broader change in how federal bank regulators are approaching crypto. Since Trump took office, his regulators have withdrawn existing guidance, warning banks under their supervision to be careful handling crypto, and published fresh guidance aiming to let the crypto industry have better access to banking services. The FDIC's acting chair, Travis Hill, he told lawmakers that his agency also expected to propose rules for the crypto industry tied to the stablecoin-focused Genius Act during a hearing earlier this week. Beal's company did not immediately respond to a request for comment sent to the media line at its affiliate Beal Bank. Okay, so the Beals in Texas, kind of a deal. In fact, I went to school with a couple of the Beal children in Midland, Texas. Do I know if they're related? I don't know, but they were really rich. I mean, they were like freaking insane rich. So it's possible It is possible that those Beals in Midland were related to this Andy Beal guy. It doesn't really matter. If you actually look at the background of Andy Beal, the dude is like loaded with cash. And this bank, this Monet Bank, while it may be small, it's Andy Beal's bank, right? So sure, it's a community bank. Sure, it's small. It's backed by a guy with like $135 billion or something like that. You know, it's not Elon Musk rich, but real $135 billion. I consider that pretty wealthy. But here's the other aspect. What was I saying last week? Banks are going to fall like freaking dominoes. And over the weekend, we've got one of Texas's richest men and his bank going full bore into Bitcoin. And of course, he's going to do shitcoinery too, but you can't win them all. And you can't win them all in Argentina either. Or can you? Because Argentina, if we go down south, moves to let its banks offer Bitcoin and crypto services. Another domino down. Micah Zimmerman from Bitcoin Magazine, tell me all about it, sir. Argentina is considering a major shift in its approach to Bitcoin. Argentina's central bank, not a community bank, not a corner store bank. No. Argentina's central bank, the Banco Central de la República Argentina, the BCRA, is reportedly drafting rules that would allow commercial banks to offer Bitcoin and crypto trading and custody services for customers. If approved, the new regulations could take effect as early as April 2026, and the potential change would reverse a plan or a ban put in place in May of 2022, because at that time, the BCRA prohibited banks from carrying out or facilitating operations involving digital assets, citing concerns about, of course, financial stability and, yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it in money laundering. I'm surprised they didn't throw some children in there as well. But since then, crypto activity in Argentina has largely taken place through informal channels or offshore exchanges. Under this new proposed framework, banks in Argentina could integrate crypto services directly into their apps and accounts, allowing for the trading and custody of select cryptocurrencies, of course, including Bitcoin. Well, these operations would be conducted through separate legal units subject to higher capital security and liquidity requirements. Additionally, banks would be required to fully comply with Know Your Customer and anti-money laundering standards in alignment with regulations set by Argentina's National Securities Commission. So officials have signaled that the move is part of a broader effort to modernize financial services. Argentina has experienced years of high inflation and strict currency controls, pushing citizens to use cryptocurrencies as a way to preserve savings. Gee, maybe stop messing with your money? Well, whatever. It's too late now. It's over for fiat currencies. The damage is already done. It's like the damage has been tattooed permanently onto all fiat money. You're not getting that shit off. You're not cleaning that up. There is no tattoo removal service that has ever worked. You will always be scarred. It does not matter how effective your laser technician is. You're not getting the tattoo that says shitty money off of the United States dollar and all the rest of the fiat currencies. That's just fact. The damage is already done, so they might as well do that here in Argentina. But according to Chainalysis, Argentina actually ranks 15th globally for active crypto wallet users, with around 10 million accounts. Between July 2023 and June of 2024, the country processed an estimated 91 billion on-chain transactions, more than 60% of which involve stablecoins. Bitcoin-friendly President Javier Milei has influenced the policy shift since taking office in December of 2023 and advocated for broader financial freedom, including access to alternative currencies. Under his administration, the BCRA has signaled a willingness to at least rethink prior restrictions. Local banks have shown interest in re-entering the crypto market. Some had already experimented with in-app trading tools before the 2022 ban. Now they are preparing systems that could support regulated crypto services once approval is granted. The move mirrors regulatory trends in other regions, like in the United States, and the repeal of the Securities and Exchange Commission's SAB 121 in January 2025, and that allowed major banks like Citi and State Street to plan crypto custody services. And then European banks have also increasingly integrated crypto offerings for its own retail clients. Argentina's draft framework is as yet, of course, not final. Authorities are evaluating risk controls, reporting standards, and which assets banks could actually support. They have emphasized the need to balance innovation with consumer protection and market stability. But if implemented, Argentina could become a model for combining traditional banking with digital assets in a high inflation economy. Observers note that the country's experience could offer lessons for other nations where citizens rely on crypto to hedge against currency devaluation. The BCRA has not confirmed a final timeline, but internal sources suggest a decision could come by April 2026 per report. So Argentina as an entire country is now looking at their banking system saying, yeah, we need these dominoes to fall too. So it's not just in, singular banks that are falling like dominoes. It's banks inside of entire countries. Banks inside of entire countries are just going to say, fuck it. We got to do this. Otherwise, we're going to be in a hog waller with a whole bunch of hogs that love to get dirty. And if you got dirty, go to my friend SoapMiner at SoapMiner.com and get yourself clean. You, too, can get away clean with SoapMiner at SoapMiner.com. That's SoapMiner.com, where you can pick up bars of handmade tallow soap. Maybe he should call them blocks, right? Blocks of handmade tallow soap. He's got all kinds of handmade tallow soap. This is not a big operation here. That's why he's in the Circle P, which is where you are. It's where I bring plebs with goods and services just like you to plebs just like you who want to buy those goods and services, but you're buying them in Bitcoin, because if you ain't selling it in Bitcoin, you ain't in the Circle P. SoapMiner is in the Circle P because he sells SoapMiner soaps for Bitcoin. Cedarwood tallow soap, pine tar tallow soap, goat's milk tallow, lemongrass, orange clove, lavender, tea tree, peppermint, Earl Grey. He's also got body balms. He's got deodorants. This is all 100% grass-fed beef tallow soap. There's no preservatives. There's no weird dyes. If the soap comes in color, it's probably because it's got some kind of colored sand in it, like naturally occurring sand. Like, let's look at the cedarwood tallow soap that is a very nice, dark, chocolatey looking soap here. What's in it? Of course, grass-fed beef tallow, pine tar, cedarwood oil, lye, and distilled water. Oh, so the pine tar is what's giving it its color. Let's look at orange clove tallow. Moroccan orange clay. It's not a dye, and this is a beautiful bar of like a deep rose colored hand soap. And by the way, these hand soaps, they last freaking forever. I got a family of 4. It took us 2 months to get through one of these things. I'm serious, man. It wasn't it wasn't for the bathtub. It was hand soap, but still, I got 2 kids and there's 2 adults in this house. Are you kidding me? This thing lasts 2 months. And this particular bar of soap is this lovely shade of like rose pink, right? So how does he get the color? He uses clay. He doesn't use food dye. He uses clay. It's Moroccan orange clay, orange essential oil, clove bud essential oil, lye, and distilled water, along with, of course, pure grass-fed beef tallow. It's the best soap in the business. It's the best soap on the market. Use the code BitcoinAnd to get 10% off your entire purchase at SoapMiner.com. Go to SoapMiner.com. Use BitcoinAnd as a coupon code. Get away clean with SoapMiner at SoapMiner.com. Now, the UAE, United Arab Emirates Secretary General, hails Bitcoin as a key pillar in the future of finance at the Bitcoin MENA conference. Micah Zimmerman is also writing this for Bitcoin Magazine. At the ongoing Bitcoin MENA conference, that's M-E-N-A, MENA or MENA, whatever, UAE officials highlighted the nation's strategic embrace of Bitcoin as a core component of the future financial system. In a speech at Bitcoin MENA, Mohammed Al-Shamsi, representing UAE National Security, this isn't a banker, this is a national security guy, speaking at Bitcoin MENA, he framed the current era as a historical phase for the global economy, noting that rapid changes are reshaping finance worldwide. Bitcoin is no longer merely a digital asset, Shamsi emphasized, but is now recognized as a key pillar in modern finance. Central to this evolution is the role of mining, described as the, quote, beating heart that underpins network strength, security, and continuity. Mining operations today are far beyond 24-hour device management. They represent a fully integrated industry built on energy efficiency, computational accuracy, and scalable infrastructure. The UAE's focus on Bitcoin reflects broader ambitions to establish itself as a hub for digital finance. Shamsi underscored the importance of building a sustainable ecosystem that supports large-scale mining operations while maintaining environmental responsibility. Efficiency, precision, and the capacity for expansion were cited as essential for this next-generation mining infrastructure. Recently, the Abu Dhabi Investment Council increased its Bitcoin exposure in the third quarter of this year, more than tripling its stake in BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust to nearly 8 million shares, valued at $518 million US. The move came just before Bitcoin hit a record high and then dropped below $92,000, reflecting ADIC's long-term view of Bitcoin as a digital counterpart to gold with its diversification strategy. Part of Mubadala, ADIC operates with its own mandate and recently strengthened leadership. The purchases highlight Abu Dhabi's ambition to position itself as a global crypto hub and treat Bitcoin as a strategic long-term asset. Industry leaders at the Bitcoin MENA 2025 conference in Abu Dhabi highlighted the UAE's potential, the potential to become the Wall Street of cryptocurrencies due to its business-friendly regulations and growing crypto ecosystems. Executives noted that attracting top talent, Bitcoin whales, and capital inflows would create a liquid and influential market. On Tuesday, December the 9th, from 11 to 11:30 a.m. local time, a panel at the proof of work stage will explore Bitcoin mining as a grid stabilizer in emerging markets. And let's see, who's on that? Mohammed Aleshki, Daniel Batten is going to be on there, Eric Hirschman from Gridless, and Luca Enfield from Munich International Mining. So if you happen to be over there, I guess, in Abu Dhabi at Bitcoin MENA, stop in and say hi. Let's run the numbers. CNBC futures and commodities and energy sector getting pummeled this morning. 2.13% down for Brent North Sea, 62.39 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate also down 2.16%, back to 58.79 UGO. Natural gas losing 7 full points, back down under 5 to $4.91. I guess we're getting a heat wave in the United States or something. Gasoline is down 2% to $1.79 a gallon. I haven't seen it down that low in a while. And Murban crude is down 2.25 to 64.15. Shiny metal rock's not doing well either this morning. Palladium is the only thing in the green. It's up by 2/3 of a point, but gold is down 2/3 of a point. 42.15 and 2 dimes for our favorite shiny metal rock. Platinum is down 1/5 of a point. Silver is down 1.25 and copper is down 0.5. Ag is mostly in the red today. There are some bright spots. Rough rice is up 2.15%. It's our winner today, and our loser is coffee, down almost 2 points. And let's see here. Where else? Live cattle is down a short row of sticks, 0.11% in the red. Lean hogs up 0.12%. Feeder cattle damn near a point loss on that one. Not going to make my rancher friends happy. S&P futures down 2/3, NASDAQ down 2/3, Dow is down 2/3, and the S&P mini is down 2/3. Breaking news, Trump, New Jersey U.S. Attorney Alina Habba has stepped down. Other than that, I have no idea why these markets are doing what they're doing, other than probably pre-FOMAC or Fed meeting jitters is the only thing that I can figure. But on to Bitcoin, which is, of course, lost its $91,000 handle like twice over the weekend. We're still chilling out at 90,050. That's a $1.8 trillion market cap. And we can get 21.5 ounces of shiny metal rocks with our one Bitcoin, of which there are 19,959,238.66 of, an average fees per block are low, 0.02 BTC, taken in fees on a per block basis. There are, 21 blocks carrying 25,000 unconfirmed transactions, waiting to clear at 1 sat per VByte, low priority, 0.1 sats per VByte, and still in zettahash territory, chilling out 1.03 zettahashes per second. That's the power of the Bitcoin hashing network right now. And then on to Russian bear exports. Holy shit. Oh my God, dude, Jay. Dude, 50,000 sats. Thank you, Jay. I haven't been listening to any pods in the past month or so, but I know you've probably been killing it as usual. Cheers and Merry Christmas. Jay, you just made my day. Spitball Marksman with 2234. Don't know shit's gotta be deep at that red herring feedlot. I hear you, pal. Paul Cernine with 500 says, thanks for another great episode. Love the way you present the news mixed with your own take on the subjects, and I appreciate the occasional rant as well. Keep up the good work and keep enjoying chocolate, as do I. See you on the other side, mate. I will, Paul. I hope to get to meet you in person one of these days. TKSuitcoin.exe. I know who this dude is. He's changed his name. 10,000 sats, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's getting back to electric money, I believe. That's actually back to electric money. Did I read this? Hold on. I'm looking. Okay, no, I haven't. I believe this was the episode where you ignorantly spouted the idea that intellectual property is an idea worth keeping. But the entire notion that you can own an idea is farcical. If I share an idea with you and you with me, we both now have two ideas. The nature of information is that it's easy replicable. You can never own an idea. Proof of this is your Bitcoin private key. The only reason you own the Bitcoin associated with this key is because you share it with no one. As soon as you share it with another, it's no longer yours. It's actually a good point. The notion that nobody would build anything if there wasn't a patent cartels inflicting violence upon others is nonsense. We made things for years and years before they were around. Patents stagnate a market as those that come up with the idea no longer have to iterate upon said ideas and make them better, can just sit on their ass and sue anyone who tries. And they do. He's not lying here. The more ideas we have and the more people attempting those ideas mean we have more things. More things is what makes us more wealthy. See, I disagree with that. Things, to me, I mean, unless it's like really fucking useful, it's just clutter. Like, it's like I have a Lamborghini. That's a thing. Does that make me wealthy? Well, I would have had to come up with a shit ton of money to go buy that. But what does it do for me? Nothing. It's clutter. I mean, unless I'm going to go drag racing for money and get good at it and start winning, then the Lambo doesn't do a fucking thing. I can't even go to the grocery store and get more than a couple of bags of groceries with a Lambo. It is a ridiculous car, yet people view it as wealth or a symbol of wealth. But it's a thing. I'm just saying, man. So things to me is one of the reasons we've gotten ourselves into this issue in the first place. But I don't want to get too far into that because he's got some more here. I added my own podcast below with an episode that clearly makes the case against intellectual property. IP is a Marxist socialist hellhole and an idea and it needs to be done away with. You're a smart man, D. With your 2 brain cells, rub them together and learn, my friend. See, I'm not going to disagree with this guy. And I can't remember his actual name here. He's going by tksuitcoin.exe, but that's not who this is. I know this dude because I'm looking at his avatar and I'm like, I can't remember who this guy is. There is a huge deal about intellectual property. And I get it. It's an important conversation to have. And the people that I've always listened to that say, like TK says, first of all, there shouldn't be any such thing as intellectual property in the first place because of his notion of information exchange. I don't disagree with that camp. But then I look at like somebody who writes a book. Okay. I'm not talking about a patent, right? That's part of this discussion clearly, but I'm just thinking of writing a book. And like, I do a lot of work on this book and I release this book. And if there's no intellectual property rights, then somebody else can just copy that book word for word and have a better marketing team. I did all the work, but they make all the money and I have zero recourse. Why would I ever attempt to write another book? I don't do this shit for free. Because writing a book, doing the work to actually put a pen to paper or keys on fingers on a keyboard doesn't put food in my stomach. It doesn't put shoes on my kids' feet. This is the other side of that argument. And I know the Alex Jones will say, oh, cognitive dissonance is when you can hold 2 opposing ideas in your head and it causes confusion. Bullshit. It's like you're trying to think, you're literally looking at an argument. Every argument you see has 2 sides to it. Otherwise, it's not an argument. But in this particular case, it's an important argument. And it's also important to respect the people that don't think intellectual property should exist. I also respect the people who thinks that it should. I happen to align with the people that think it should because nobody has been able to tell me how I'm going to be able to protect my ability to convert my time and energy into something that puts food on my table without it being absconded by somebody else. See, that's my issue here. And it really does boil down to books, right? I mean, patents, I don't even want to get into it. Let's just talk about books and podcasts and like content creation. You know, like if I do art, if I'm a great artist and I like do these really kick-ass pencil drawings and somebody just comes into my house and just, you know, at gunpoint takes them and sells them as their own. And they're so good, they get millions of dollars for it. I can prove that I did those. But if there's no intellectual property rights, who the fuck cares? You just walk in my house, take my shit that I made, and you can make money on it, and I get fucking nothing out of it. This is sort of where I center in on this particular argument. Now, here's where I would change my mind. Prove to me, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that without any intellectual property rights whatsoever, nobody is going to steal my shit and sell it as their own, thereby forcing a situation where I never want to make anything ever again. If you can make that argument, I will 100% agree that there should not be intellectual property rights. But if I am out to create something, if I want to do that for a living and somebody absconds with that living and I have no recourse, then I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to be creative again. It's not worth it. So that's sort of where I come from there. Who else is here? Jason Hyde with 250 says, resist tyranny, maximize liberty, decentralize everything. Nick Dose with 116 says, cheers. Cheers, brother. Well, let's see if I can find my good friend. Nope. Oh, man. Pies isn't here. Wait, is Pies here? No Pies? No Pies. Well, that's the weather report. Welcome to part 2 of the news that you can use. Cointelegraph is first up today. Ezra Reguera is going to tell us all about Strategy's Bitcoin treasury because they bought more Bitcoin. Like I said, it's going to be a short show today, people. Michael Saylor's Strategy has expanded its Bitcoin treasury yet again, buying nearly $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, even as digital asset treasury inflows cool and its own stock trades sharply lower on the year. Michael Saylor announced on X that the company bought 10,624 Bitcoin for $962.7 million at an average price of $90,615. So he's underwater on that entire purchase as of right now. Per coin last week, the move brings Strategy's total holdings to 660,624 Bitcoin, acquired for approximately $49.35 billion at an average price of $74,696 per coin. The move comes during a pretty rough stretch. Yeah, they hit a rough patch there for Strategy's equity. According to Google Finance, Strategy shares recently traded around $178, down 51% over the past 12 months. Yeah, but 6 years ago it was trading at like $8. Only 6 years. I mean, come on, what kind of time horizons do we really need here? Oh, well, despite this, the company has billions in unrealized gains on its BTC holdings. And according to treasuries or BitcoinTreasuries.net, Strategy's current BTC holdings are worth about $60 billion, more than 22% above the firm's aggregate cost basis. At the Bitcoin MENA event in Abu Dhabi, so I guess Saylor's there, Saylor said that he had been meeting with sovereign wealth funds and a diverse range of investors, including people who run banks and family offices, to discuss Bitcoin. Quote, my message, by the way, is very straightforward. My message is, we now have digital capital. Bitcoin is digital capital. It's digital gold. On top of digital capital, we have a new asset class called digital credit. Digital credit strips the volatility from the capital and provides yield, Saylor said. I don't know, man. Strips the volatility from capital to provide yield. I don't like that one bit, but despite a downturn in Strategy stock prices, the company's chairman consistently reaffirms their belief in the asset, saying recently that they won't back down from their Bitcoin bet. And then they talk about DAT flows and a whole bunch of other stuff. And honestly, it's all the items that I covered last week and the week before. And there's no reason to rehash them here. So let's go get a croissant over in France, where the Frenchies and their banking system are doing stuff and reaching for things. Banking giant BPCE opens Bitcoin trading for millions of customers. And they're all French. Maybe not, who knows. But Nima for BitcoinNews.com says, France has taken a big step into digital finance with Group BPCE, the country's second largest banking group, reportedly launching digital asset trading for its customers. This means its customers will be able to buy Bitcoin directly from their banking app, something that used to require a separate third-party exchange. The announcement came from the Big Whale, a local digital asset news outlet, on Saturday. Starting on Monday, that would be today, users of two of the banking group's entities, Banque Populaire and Caisse d'Espoir, will have access to four major digital assets: Bitcoin and three shitcoins. Oh no, two shitcoins and a stable coin, but they're not using Tether, it's USDC. At first, the feature will only be available to around 2 million consumers, but the bank plans to expand it to nearly 12 million users by 2026. Group Banque Populaire and Group Caisse d'Espoir became part of Group BPCE in 2009, when the two mutual banking groups merged after the 2008 financial crisis and problems at their joint investment bank, Natixis. Interesting name. Even though they now share the same BPCE parent, both groups keep their own brands, their own regional banks, and their own cooperative structures, and continue to operate as separate retail networks within the larger umbrella of BPCE. The new option will appear inside the regular banking app, but trading will happen through a special digital asset account. This account will be run by Hexarch, BPCE's digital asset subsidiary. There is a how do you say this? It costs €3. It's 2.99 euros. I don't know is it 2 euros and 99 cents? Is it, what's a fraction of a euro? Somebody tell me what a fraction of a euro is. Do they have a name for that shit? Anyway, whatever. It's a monthly fee, $3 a month, so that you can have the option to trade Bitcoin through the banking app. I'll bet you they don't get a lot of takers for that one. Each trade, you're going to incur a new cost, 1.5%, with a minimum of €1 per transaction. Nobody's going to go for this. Why are you even doing so? This is a waste of fucking time. €4? You do one trade in a month that's going to cost you €4. I was like, what, $7? $6? Whatever. Whatever. BPCE says that the slow rollout is intentional. By introducing the service step by step, the bank can observe how people use it and fix problems early and make improvements before expanding it to everyone. This move is a major connection between traditional finance and digital assets. Other banks across Europe are beginning to offer digital asset services as well. BBVA already lets users buy Bitcoin and shitcoin number one, and Santander's Open Bank allows trading of several digital assets. BPCE's joining shows that digital assets are becoming more accepted in mainstream banking. And then they talk about MiCA and a few other things that just kind of gives you some background into what's going on in Europe. But we've covered all of that on this show and more. That is the last article for the day. If you do want to find out about what the hell's going on with Bitcoin every single day, at least Monday through Friday, join me here, Bitcoin and Podcast, and I will tell you about all the news that you can use. I'll see you on the other side. This has been Bitcoin and I'm your host, David Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and hope to see you again real soon. Have a great day.